Hi guys, thanks for checking out the video. Episode 3 of Buzzworld. So we've made it into week 3. Thanks for all the questions that people have already put down, and please keep them coming. This week I've just done a bit of filming and lots of coaching, and I've been working with the performance squad, so I've had a pretty cool week. I got to 3,000 Twitter followers, so if you follow me on Twitter, thank you very much. Quite proud to get into 3K, and I'm on my way to 6,500 subscribers on YouTube. So if you're not following me, please subscribe. In the first 2 episodes, or the first 2 videos of these, I've been asking for questions, lots of questions about my putting. If you've ever been on YouTube before, you're probably well aware that it's the weakest part of my golf game. I've had lots of questions on sort of how it's looking a bit better. So is it feeling better? What have I been doing? So this video I'm going to kind of give you the lowdown, the whole story of the Buzzman's history of putting. So putting has always been a problem. Used to be really frustrating sort of when I was sort of 13, 14. I must have had a handicap of about 5, 6. And just couldn't get any lower. Made it very difficult to stay in sort of the county setup, because my long game was very good. It was always overperforming the scores I was able to shoot, because sort of not only was my putting poor, my chipping and pitching and doing everything around the green I was pretty poor at when I was younger. So yeah, used to find golf really frustrating, even up to sort of 16, 17 years old. Doing the putting was a bit of a mess. So I went to see a guy. He works up in Bristol, and he focuses in on putting, because I must have had a handicap. I don't know. I think I was off 1 or 2. Yeah, probably a handicap of 2 when I went up to see him. So I must have been probably 17, 18. Went up to Bristol, had a 4-hour putting sort of workshop, and was honestly expecting him to say, well, the stroke's pretty good, it's all in your head, do you mean you need to believe in yourself a bit more? And it was the first time I'd actually seen my putting stroke on video, and it was horrendous. Like, I could not believe how bad it looked. And it was very much like my takeaway in my full swing. So there was a little bit of a shift, there was a bit of wrist cock. It just did not look like a putting stroke, and it kind of made me think, how have I ever hold a putt, let alone be moaning that I'm not holding enough. So yeah, had this session with Nick up in Bristol, and he was kind of affiliated with the Swash brand, so people might not know, Podrick Harrington, so it's kind of that short putter, trying to get over the ball, try and stay kind of square to square. So I kind of remodeled my putting, really tried to change, especially the wrist break. Was trying to feel like the shaft lean was maintained through the whole of the stroke, so that was really what I was judging myself on. And to be honest, it got better. I would say it was certainly worth going to see him, just to kind of, it's the first time I actually understood how bad the problem was. But yeah, so it was a real productive session. I think I went back a couple more times, and was really feeling it quite nice with that shorter putter. I think I had I'm 6'2", and I think I had 30. I might have even gone down to 32 inches. It was certainly 33, but I've got a feeling I went down to 32. So really maintained that for a while. And then it wasn't until my second year at uni, I had a session with a clinical psychologist. It was a dyslexia test. And one of the tests they do, they look at eye dominancy. And it turns out I was left eye dominant. So I've got this guy, he wasn't involved with golf, he didn't play golf, he didn't coach golf. And he said to me, look, he said, you said you played golf, didn't you? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, I bet you break your wrists in your putting stroke, cut across it, and are really poor. So I was like, he'd like describe my putting action to like down to a T, and I was obviously intrigued. Kind of don't don't leave me with that information. Please tell me more. And basically, and I've done a video on eye dominancy. It's on my channel. I'll put it in the description down below. And basically, if you're left eye dominant and you're playing golf right-handed, as we're looking across, as you look down there, if you look out your left eye, you're not looking down the line, because obviously your right eye is the one that is looking down the line. So by looking out the left, everything appears further left. So hence the reason I got this stabby sort of cutty stroke, because I had such issues aiming the blade up. So yeah, so he couldn't really give me any sort of strategies to overcome it, but I mean he kind of gave me the major issue, the reason I had always been so bad at putting. So I must have spent probably at least a season, probably longer, actually just shutting my left eye. So I was shutting the left eye and trying to look out of my right eye, and it helped my alignment and stuff, but it was like horrible, just really horrible, because like I was putting with, like, try it now at home. Do you remember, if you don't look out the dominant eye, it's like trying to throw a dart with the dominant eye shut. Do you mean you can kind of see, but the visual that you're getting is very blurred. It doesn't focus in particularly well. So I sort of persevered with that, and yeah, it was probably better. It was probably better, but it certainly felt so uncomfortable. And it wasn't until I was away on a county training weekend, and they had a guy called Martin Cummins come down. He does short game with the guys on tour, and I kind of told him how bad my putting was, certainly still the weakest part of my game, and he was the one who told me to move. I had to move my ball position forward, and I had to keep my head back, and what that allowed me to do was, for the first time, actually tilt my head and look out my left eye. It allowed my left eye to look down the target line, and a massive change. I think I had to change my ball position 3-4 inches, and for the first probably, I would say 3-4 months, or certainly when he first changed it, I could literally miss from a foot. I was terrible, like just could not get the ball in the hole, but I persevered with it. Really worked quite hard, and it real frustrating time. But after I got through that period, I would say my putting turned around. Felt so much more comfortable. I'd basically spent 18 years putting blind. So as soon as I got this eye stuff worked out, and they've done studies, and they've taken like teams of elite golfers, and you'll find the majority of the time that the best visual guys tend to be the best putters. Do you mean visual and the putting, they kind of go hand in hand, which kind of makes sense, because the movement itself of moving a putter isn't that hard. So yeah, so the first time started to feel good with it. First year as a pro, putted very well. Do you mean it was starting to look good? Obviously transferred from the amateur game to the pro game, so playing with a lot of guys that didn't really know me, and you wouldn't have known that I'd had putting issues. So yeah, for the first time I actually felt pretty damn good with it, and probably still had that tendency to fiddle a bit too much. I've gone from, like I said, I've had a 32-inch putter, I've had 36.5-inch putters as well. So I do mean I mix around, and if I work on my putting a lot, I certainly have to maintain it. It's not something that maintains itself. With like my driving, if I don't play for a while, I can hit a few drivers on the range, and I get it back, and I start to look respectable pretty quick. That's not the case with my putting. I really do have to work hard with it. I have to use the mirror to really check on the setup, really checking my ball position and everything is correct in order for me to putt half decent. So anyway, 18 months ago, yeah, 18 months, maybe 2 years ago now, I broke my foot, so that was my season over. I must have broken it in the April, so season over, completely done. Foot couldn't walk on it, so certainly couldn't play for months. So did that in the April, and then kind of I might have played a pro event sort of the back end of September, but that was really just a play. I mean, I wasn't match ready, and then that was the time I then started to film with Mark. So I mean, I was coming off the shelf and then straight onto YouTube, and doing some of the performances were exactly what you'd expect of someone that hadn't played, and the swing was looking terrible, but and I kind of worked through that. I'd certainly say it's looking better now than it was this time last year, but the putting, was dreadful, and it spiraled, and it was just a lack of not playing. Had people commenting on the ball position being too far forward, which, like I've just discussed, that's a deliberate thing. And also people saying about how I had the ball so far away from me, and that certainly wasn't something that was intentional. I've mixed around with different setups. Like I say, I've tried the square to square, short putter, trying to get my shoulders quite flat, and I've also kind of tried the stand uply sort of approach where I had a 36.5-inch putter, trying to stand up quite tall and really feel the gate. So what happens when I don't play is it all merges into one sort of mess. So what sort of compounded this issue is, in the period in which I broke my foot, I went to work at a driving range. I left the country club that I was working at, and the country club where I'd grown up with, so I'd always had the putting green, the chipping green, and I'd moved to a driving range. So not only had I got my putting in a complete mess, I now only had a driving range. So if you sort of document and look back on the videos, the long game gets better and better, but the putting stays rock bottom. It stays horrible, and that was purely because I was able to practice. I was able to practice with my long game, and I wasn't able to practice with my putting, but wasn't making the effort as well. I must admit. I changed. I was working a sort of 40-hour contract plus coaching, so playing was at the back of my mind, because I've kind of got my masters stuff in the background as well. So I wasn't really putting the effort in. So as a result, if I don't put the maintenance stuff in, and if I don't work on my putting, it's horrendous, and that's kind of what you've seen. But saying that, since June this year, I've been working as the performance coach up at the university. So real fortunate, they've got a short game area on campus, the brand new facility, artificial putting green and artificial short game area. So for the first time since I'd been out injured, I'd had a chance to actually practice my putting, and I've worked really hard on my posture. Worked on some quiet eye stuff. It's well, I need to explain that with the professor up there too, and he is looking at visual. So I've been really trying to work on that, really trying to work on my posture, and it's certainly feeling a lot better. I've switched. I've gone back to left below right. I kind of switched into it in the summer, and then whilst trying to change my posture, I changed back because I felt like it could keep my elbows a bit closer to the body. But since then, I have turned back again. I've gone left below right. I tend to add loft. I tend to break the wrist through, so that's where I get quite a poor roll. So that's one of the reasons I've gone to that grip. And the second of all is, I feel if I can get it away from feeling like my long game, I can kind of separate the two, and then I know I'm not impeding on my long game. Plus, I can create sort of a completely different feel with my putting, and hopefully ingrain some good habits. So I'm actually quite pleased with the way I'm going. I've got a ping answer at the minute which is feeling quite nice. Always struggle with the alignment a bit. So really need to, and that's certainly what I'll do at the minute. Get back on the mirror and work on my alignment. But all in all, the putting is actually is far better than it was, and it's competent now. So I won't lie and say it's fantastic, and I'm a changed man, and I now rule the putting scene. But it's certainly now more respectable. So yeah, so going to keep practicing. I've deliberately not done so. Whereas I worked on the posture, I didn't go too heavy into sort of using the mirror and everything, and like I haven't been using the SAM a great deal. So that's it actually tracks how the putter's moving. So I haven't used that one on purpose because I've been trying to just get a better feel going, get a bit more confidence back, really trying to stick with the process a bit better. It's quite an interesting one, and something that you guys can learn at home is sometimes if you are really weak and really poor at a certain area, you need to judge yourself on your current ability. So trying to chip away at it and get a little better at a time, rather than like, and I'm unfortunate that like Crossfield is a fantastic putter. I mean his putting performances are above tour average, I would say. So if I practice and go, well, I want to be like him, I mean it's unrealistic, plus it doesn't really help me as a performer, because that process isn't going to help me, because it's going to put far too much pressure on me, and I'm kind of setting myself to fail. So like I say, if you've got a part of your game that you really struggle on, be realistic. Think about it in your terms. So take the uncontrollable and the controllable, really work on the controllable elements of it, and really try and make them better. And if you can chip away at them, you can then start bringing your performance up to the level in which you want it to be. And it will allow you to stay in that process far better. And that's certainly what I'm trying to do with putting at the minute. Really it's been great. I've been practicing pretty much every day, and that's something that I hadn't been doing. So hopefully the hard work will pay off. So anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please get some comments down if you want any more information on my putting. Do you mean get the comments down? If you've got other topics or other questions or any sort of general golfing sort of things that you don't understand, get them down underneath this video, or get it on my Twitter feed, or get it onto my channel, and I'll try and work through them, because the responses have been great so far. Hope to catch you soon.